Tell me when we're live.
We are live.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Judy Peterson, and I'm the Public Information Officer for the Fairfax County Park Authority. Welcome to our virtual meeting this evening. This meeting is being held virtually in deference to the pandemic and limitations on meetings considering that crisis. And tonight we are recording this meeting. Tonight we will hear brief welcoming remarks from Park Board Vice Chairman and Providence District Representative Ken Quincy, and then a brief presentation from Nick DeRay, Manager of Marketing and Research. Most importantly, for those who are with us either within the meeting or calling in or on the chat, we'll be hearing from you. And that's the most important thing tonight. And we'll provide you with the instructions as to how to do that in just a few minutes. Let me make some introductions, and let me just tell you, behind the scenes, I have some helpers. You may hear me ask them for information through the evening. That would be Hannah and Joe. They're also monitoring my chat. They're looking on the phone lines, and we want to make sure that everybody who wants to participate tonight has that opportunity. Let me start out with the Park Authority Board. And again, I believe I've captured everybody who is on, but if I should miss you, please make sure I know that you're there. Again, Providence District Representative Ken Quincy, from the Springfield District, Michael Thompson, from Sully District, Maggie Godbold, from the Drainsville District, Representative Tim Hackman, Ron Kendall, representing the Mason District. I believe those are the members of the Park Board that I've been able to capture so far. We may have others. We also have members of our staff here tonight. Park Authority Director Kirk Kincannon, Deputy Director Sarah Baldwin, Deputy Director Amy Vosper. From the Park Services Division, we have the Director Cindy Walsh. We also have Michael Peter from Finance, and we have Brian Laws, Operations Manager for Park Services Division. We have Mary Oline, Operations Manager for Resource Management Division. Josh Coleman, our Finance Guru. Chris Goldbecker, our Manager of Lakefronts. John Berlin, who is well known for doing magic with camps and the concerts and all other manner of great things. And I believe that is everybody. Oh, and of course, Nick DeRay, who is our marketing manager, who we're going to hear from in just a few minutes. So let me start off by asking Ken Quincy to say a word or two. Ken?
Good evening, and thank you for joining us, albeit virtually. Over the past few weeks, we have received comments from members of the community, and tonight we will continue to discuss proposed fee adjustments outlined in our 2021 fee proposal. I would like to thank all of you who have submitted comments and questions, and those of you who will be speaking with us this evening. In Fairfax County, we have more than 425 parks, 9 rec centers, 7 great golf courses, and countless historic and cultural resources. We have a large park system, considered to be among the best in the nation. And we offer many programs and classes, as well as opportunities to enjoy those golf courses, rec centers, and lakefront parks. To provide these options for the community requires fees that augment resources provided with taxpayer dollars. It's a challenge in good times, and during the pandemic, we have found that camps and programs, weddings, and classes needed to be canceled, and facilities shuttered to maintain the safety of the public and our staff. Many have reopened, and we have been very creative in getting folks back into virtual classes or outside programs on golf courses and in rec centers with COVID safety precautions in place. But the challenge to cover expenses and make our budget mandate remains. And that's why tonight's fee discussion is so important. Tax dollars just cover a portion of the money needed to keep our park system vibrant and allow it to keep up with the growing demands of visitors. We do not take these proposed fee changes lightly. In fact, we always implement and control cost control measures and adjust programming before considering a change in fees. However, increases are sometimes necessary to allow us to continue to provide the level of quality that our park system users have come to expect. There is no perfect solution, and that's why we welcome your input. If the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us anything this past year, we have learned just how important parks are to the health and well-being of our residents. Park usage hit record levels in 2020, and parks continue to be of vital importance to the residents of Fairfax County. I want to thank you again for your interest in our parks and your input on this proposal.
Thank you, Ken. This public meeting is being held to solicit comments concerning the 2021 fee proposals. The Park Board chooses to provide this annual forum at which we take comments on the proposals in the fee packet. We believe that public engagement on this topic of park fees provides the Park Board and park staff with useful context and a sense of the community concerns. So tonight we will hear briefly from staff on the fee process and why we look at fees annually, and then we will hear from you. We're not going to take questions this evening, although we will note them, and we do have a very robust website and Q&A. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Nick DeRay, Manager, Marketing and Research, who will give you a brief overview.
Next slide on the presentation, please. In particular, because this is the first time we're doing this virtually, there may be some new people into the process here who aren't familiar with our annual process, so we thought it would be beneficial to just overview what really takes up the better part of the year. A lot of people, when we talk about fee adjustments, say, well, why don't you just cut costs? And it's important to recognize that that's something that we really do throughout the year and is continuous. And that's really the start of our process to be able to balance our revenue fund budget every year. But in addition to that, the board has a fiduciary responsibility to manage the admission and rental fees in its fee schedule. And so staff looks beginning in August every year at a fee review process to see what fees may be appropriate for adjustment in a particular year. The fee schedule has in the neighborhood of 500 or so individual fees. We don't adjust them all every year, but we do it selectively. That process at the staff level goes through October, and then in November, we meet for the first time with the board at the committee level to discuss and to have a little bit of a back and forth about what staff's proposal is. Based on that feedback, we sometimes make changes and then come back to the board in December, at which time the full board acts to advertise the proposed fee adjustments. So one thing that would be interesting to note is that we believe we have the most, really the most transparent fee process in the area here. Most park and recreation departments in the region just do their fee adjustments as a part of their community's budget process every year. We're the only organization that actually separates that out and asks for your feedback in an individual process so that we can be as transparent as possible. That comment period is a 30-day comment period that happens. The days vary, but January, February timeframe. This particular year, it's January 6th through February 4th. We're right in the middle of it here with a public comment meeting, which is usually the way we time it. Once we get all public comment in, then we'll consider, and the board will consider whether we need to make any adjustments to what's proposed. And then following that, there's typically board action in the first meeting in March to approve whatever the board chooses to approve out of the fee proposal. And then those, whatever has been enacted, those fees take effect April 1. Next slide, please. So that's the process. Just want to make your attention to a couple of things. If you haven't been to the Park Authority's website to see the fee comment page, please do. The link to it is at the bottom. The URL is at the bottom of the screen. It's fairfaxcounty.gov//parks/fee meeting. You'll find the actual fee proposal there, some Q&As about the process, and then most importantly, where and when to comment. Next slide. And just two reminders on this slide, and then we'll turn it over to you, the public, for comment. One is if you're speaking tonight, we'll capture your comments, but please do also email them to us at the address that's shown on this slide. That information is also on the fee comment page. And then also remember that we must receive your comments by Thursday, February 4th to be incorporated into the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. That was short and sweet. Now it is time to hear from you. I think we have 3 guests among us. If you would like to voice your comments, here's how you're going to do it. You can raise your hand on Zoom by selecting the 3 dots or more, and then clicking or tapping on the raise hand. I'll go down the list as I see the hands. I'll call your name and Hannah will unmute you. We'll ask you to please state your name before speaking for ADA requirements. And you'll also be able to add your comments in the Zoom chat box. I'll read them aloud so that the board does hear them. They will become part of the public record. And if you're calling in, which I believe we do have somebody via the phone, then we'll go one by one. We'll unmute your number and ask if you wish to speak. If you don't wish to speak and you're just listening, that's fine too. Just let us know. But then if you do wish to speak, just tell us your name again for ADA requirements before you start speaking. I don't believe that we have a particularly large bunch of folks today, but we generally keep comments to about 3 minutes if you're speaking as an individual and about 5 minutes if you're representing a group. So we have a couple of folks that I see their hands are up. Hannah, where would you like me to go, to the phones or to the folks with their hands up?
The phone dropped off, so go ahead with the hands.
All right, we're going to go to Cindy. No, I'm sorry, it took me to Queenie.
Cindy was first.
Okay, I guess it moved on me. So Cindy would be the person that would go to first.
Okay, just want to make sure this is Cindy Nelson, not Cindy Walsh. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Judy?
yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for holding this public forum. I really appreciate your time and assistance. Just a couple of things, please. I was going through the proposal and noticed the fee increases, and I guess I just wanted to make sure that I have these correct. So it looks like for the golf fees, we have $11 to $13 increases, and that's like 18% increase. For the miniature golf fees, we have $7 to $8 and $8 to $9 respectively, for 14 and 11% increases. The train ride fees go from $3 to $4 and $4 to $5, which is a 33 and a 25% increase. And then when it gets to the kayakers, I don't know what's going on if the county has something against kayakers, but the prices increase significantly, and it goes from 11 to 18 and $10 to $17, which is a 64% increase and a 73% increase, respectively. And then it also goes from $7 to $12, $8 to $13, 71% increase, 63% increase. And then you go down to the Burke Lake fees, and it goes from $12.50 to $20, which is a 60% increase. And then for a full day kayak, it goes from $18 to $40 for an increase of 122%. And then you go from $19 to $45, it's a 137% increase. So it doesn't seem a little fair there why kayakers are being hit so hard. And I went back and I read the blurb about kayaking, and I guess you're trying to raise the fees to be synchronous with Riverbend, but those aren't, I guess I can't clearly see what those fees are, but it just seems like the kayakers really took a beating, and I was wondering why that's not equitable and percentage fee increases as the other areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. The board members have heard them and they will be entered into the record. Okay. Would our next speaker, I believe it says Queenie's iPad, would you like to proceed?
Yes, my name is Queenie Cox, and I'm president of the New Gum Springs Civic Association. And I had spoken with the staff to include, and I see John is on the call as well, Berlin, that we do support increasing, well, not increasing, but having the new fee for non-county residents to use the Martin Luther King pool. Now, I did notice that it's $5 per individual. And I guess I wasn't quite sure if that was a nominal fee for around the county, because perhaps that fee could be more than $5, because we have experienced in the community an extremely large amount of individuals who are not county residents using the pool. And oftentimes the community youths aren't able to use the pool because the pool will have reached its capacity. So to discourage non-county folks from using the pool, would the park authority consider increasing the $5 to, $10 perhaps? And another reason why we wanted to have a fee imposed was because we took a survey of the tags on the vehicles that are in the parking lot, and they are definitely out of state. They're not Virginia tags. They're mainly from Maryland or DC. So, we're trying to use the park for community and county residents, but it's being overtaken by, those who are not residents. And so would requesting the fee be $10? Would that be out of line in order to discourage outsiders from using the pool?
Queenie, we don't generally comment on the comments and the questions or proposals that we get at tonight's meeting. What's a little unusual this year is after our meeting, usually there's staff that hangs around and talks with people. Clearly, that's not going to be very useful tonight. But what I would encourage you to do is to send us an email, both you and Cindy, with your concerns and your proposals. And then we can have staff actually respond to those particulars. But clearly the board has heard your concerns and your proposal this evening.
Okay, and I guess my last question would be for the groups. Should I include my concern about the fee for groups? Because the group's only $3 a person. Now, for groups, is the leader of the group a county resident, or is just a group leader?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, if you want to use the pool, the Park Authority imposed a $3 fee for groups of 12 or more per person. So that fee is less than, an individual. So my question is, if you come as a group, what determines the group and who's the leader of the group? Is the group leader required to be a county resident? And therefore everyone in the group pays the $3? Or would the group be, if the group leader is not a county resident, would they be subject to the non-county fee?
That seems to be a procedure question. Is there somebody that could perhaps address just that procedure question so that she could get some clarity on that?
I can take a stab, and maybe Cindy. The way that we're planning to roll this out, any individual that is an out-of-county resident would have to pay the fee. So the leader, any non-county resident would pay the $5 fee.
Okay. Is there a requirement on when the groups are allowed to use the pool?
Cindy, maybe that's a question for you. Are we limiting group use time?
No, are you asking, Queenie, and sorry to I'm misunderstanding the question. Are you asking if we have specific times at which non-county residents can use the pool versus county?
No, any group, because you could get a group of friends to go to the park. And if there are 12 of these people and you have a couple of groups, that would deny access to community use. So, and particularly over a holiday.
I would say the answer to that, and Queenie, I can get back to you since this really is a forum for questions. Talk to you more about the operational side of this, but there aren't any specific limits on when the groups can come in. Like if it's non-county or county.
That's what? I didn't get the last part.
County or non-county.
Oh, okay. So the groups could still overrun county residents the way it's set up right now.
At this point, that's not been our experience, my understanding. But I suppose that you could look at it that way.
I would suggest that you include that in your email as well so that we can flesh it out for you a little bit more and get you a more determinate answer. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Hannah, do we have anybody else that would like to join us? We don't have anybody on the chat that I see, and I believe our phone caller has gone away.
Yes, I'm not seeing any phone calls, no more hands raised. So nothing in the chat. So I would say no. Is there anybody else who would like to speak, make their comments audibly in chat?
Can I ask another question?
You can.
Okay. For the reserve section in the MLK Park, and I know I will include this in my comments as well, my email comments, but is there any flexibility or that the Park Authority would provide to the community-based organization to use the reserved area other than Community Day if we were to have special events in the park? Because we have to pay, the community fought to get the park, and now we have to pay to use the park. So, in the reserved area, because some of the churches that even who we partner with, they're not even allowed to use the park. So the park is really not being used by the community. It's being used more so by non-county residents. So in order to encourage the community to use the park and use it as a meeting place. I was wondering if the community could use the park without having to pay the fee in the reserved area. I mean, even if you say we could have 3 free uses a year, that would be better than us having to pay to use the community park.
So I would again suggest that you add that to the email. We're always looking for policies that treat everybody fairly, but we understand what you're saying. So add that in. I think the board heard your concern and we will respond. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Hearing and seeing no other input, which is fairly typical for our fee meeting. I want to thank those who did come this evening for the comments and remind you that the open comment period will be open until February 4th, and you can submit written comments. And again, you can send it to parkmail@fairfaxcounty.gov, or you can go to the website. If you search in the box, you'll see that there is a link to the material online, www.fairfaxcounty.gov/park/fee meeting. And it is in the chat in case you need that. The park board is going to consider the input along with the other input from the community that we've received and will be receiving. And these fees would be effective then in April 2021. So with that, I'd like to just say, please be safe, be kind to each other, and good night.
Thank you, Judy. Night.
Well, bye-bye.
Thank you to the entire staff. Have a good night.
Thank you, Judy. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thanks so much, everybody.